Well, gosh, thank you very much for having me today. Isn't this great? I mean, we're learning new things. We're thinking about things we hadn't thought about before. I mean, it's no Atlanta Housewives, but it's still really pretty good. You know what? I'm going to here's the thing with me. I have a weird job. And I've been doing it a long time. I used to do it in elementary school. My dad would be transferred around a lot in the Northwest. And so I would go to a new elementary school. And even in 4th or 5th grade, I had the ability to capture a likeness, to do a caricature. So I would sit in class, and I wouldn't know any of the kids, but I would draw the teacher, and I could do a cartoon drawing of the teacher so that it really looked like usually it was a her. So I'd have this drawing, and then I would pass it to the kid next to me, and he'd pass it around, and pretty soon I had 30 friends. So that was how I made friends in school, and then in junior high and high school, I started drawing for my school newspapers. And I got into college. I went to the University of Washington, and it was like I was like a junior, and I was thinking, "Oh crap! What the heck am I going to do when I get out of school?" Even though I'd been drawing all along, but in my mind, becoming an editorial cartoonist, it's actually easier to become a Major League Baseball player. There are not that many editorial cartoonists, so I was a junior in college, and I just thought, well, you know what? I really have to try and do this. So I eventually graduated, and I sent out 300 resumes all across the country, just waiting for the offers to come in. And no one wanted to hire me. So for 2 years, I sold life insurance. And that was really tough. I looked very young graduating from college, and I was selling life insurance to these older union members. And so I wasn't selling anything, so I went to a place called Fred Meyer's. It's like a Target, and I got some glasses with just glass in them, so that I'd look a little older, wearing these glasses. That didn't work. I was even outfitted for a fake mustache. That didn't work either. But it's sort of like life insurance selling. It's sort of like learning to swim. You just have to go out there and almost drown, and then you kind of get the hang of it. So I lasted 2 years there, and by the end of it, I was wearing a white belt and plaid polyester pants. I mean, I was a complete life insurance salesman. But so now I've been doing this for a long time. My editor has cracked down on me, though. He says that now I have to get in by noon. So I get into the newspaper at noon, and the first thing that I do is I have lunch. And then after lunch, to the untrained eye, it doesn't look like I'm doing anything, because I'm not really doing anything. I'm looking at the AJC and the New York Times, and I'm on the web, various blogs and news websites and eBay, but basically I'm killing time, because this is what is weird about me. I procrastinate every single day. So I start around noon, and then by 3 o'clock I start getting nervous. So those 3 hours I pretty much procrastinate. And then around 3 o'clock I'll come up with a couple of ideas. And normally they're not very good ideas, but I'll bring them out to there's a columnist at the paper, Jay Bookman, who's a friend of mine. He's very honest with me. So I'll bring them out to him, and he'll say, "No, those aren't good." And so I say, "Okay." And so I go back into my office, but I need that. It's like a shot of adrenaline to me. I like being rejected. So I think that's a psychological problem that I have. But I like when he tells me that's not good, because then I think, okay, I'm gonna show him that I'm not a failure. And so I'll come up with a couple more ideas, and I bring them out to him, and nah, those aren't good either. And this is how it works every single day. So it's procrastination, and then after 3 it becomes more and more panic. My deadline's 5:30. So as it gets closer to 5:30, I'm just so nervous and panicked, but it's weird. It's like the second speaker today, the young theologian guy, talking about mindfulness. My mindfulness occurs when I'm so panicked that I just focus, and then I come up with something, and then I show it to Jay. It's usually right before 5 or 5:30, and he'll say, "Yeah, I like that." And so what I do to save time, because I've wasted my day doing that, is I don't pencil anything in when I go to the final drawing. So I'll show Jay just a very rough sketch, and then when I do the final drawing, I just draw without penciling, and then I go through a lot of whiteout. So normally my hands are filled with whiteout because I'm constantly messing up, and then I have this little whiteout pen, and then I go like this to make it all smooth, and then I draw over the whiteout. And there have been times when I have given a speech in the evening after doing a cartoon, and it'll be just fine, and like a big group like this. Then I'll come home and I'll walk past a mirror, and there'll be a big streak of whiteout out on my face that no one will have said anything to me about. So, anyways, I'll just show you some cartoons here, and then I'll take some questions. Let's see. Oh, here's a. This kind of gives you an idea, I think, how I sort of come up with ideas. I did this one about a week or two ago. I was trying to come up with, we had the shooting of Trayvon Martin, and I was trying to come up with a cartoon. Part of that, and it's still to be determined, is about race, of course. But part of it is what Bill Cosby said. It's about there's so many frigging guns in this country, and so I was trying to come up with why that is. So this is the kind of the first idea I came up with. I just have an NRA guy with a cash against a politician's head, and the politician's saying, "I have an overwhelming urge to cooperate, even though this is technically not a gun to my head." Jay would have said, "No, Mike, no." And then so then I thought about it for a little bit longer, and I came up with this one, and still sort of along the same lines, and it still stunk. And then I'm not making a lot of progress here, am I? but then so this is the one that I ended up doing. Must obey. He's pointing both barrels at me. So you kind of starts out as something crappy and hopefully ends up less crappy, by the end of it. Oh, here, I'm going to show you, gosh, wait a minute. I need a little, I'm just going to put that right there. Dick Clark died this week. And, the thing about Dick Clark, at least I found when I was trying to come up with a cartoon, I was trying to think, it wasn't like Steve Jobs that had, Steve Jobs, when he passed away, you could come up with something easier because he had created a variety of things. Dick Clark had created $25,000 pyramid and things like that, but it was just harder for me. So these are pretty lame. Let's see. Here he's going into heaven, and St. Peter saying, "We'll soon find out how many angels can dance on the head of a pin." So that was it. Here's the next one. I've got St. Peter singing, and he's someone in the background saying he thinks Dick Clark's going to discover him. And then, so this is the one I ended up doing. I found someone to host Judgment Day. So, thanks. Now, last Sunday was the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. So I was trying to come up with something on that. And again, I'll go through, this is the last time I'll do this, but this is, the icebergs have melted. That's a chunk of styrofoam. Attention passengers, due to global warming, the only ice is in your drink. And then this is the one I ended up with. It's a 2-panel cartoon. In the first panel, it's a Titanic memorial cruise, and the captain's yelling, "Brace for impact." And then he's saying, "Never mind, it melted." People have asked me before, when I'm drawing, whoever is president becomes sort of my favorite character to do. And, the golden era, the golden age for me was George W. Bush. because he was this special individual that combined rank stupidity with this arrogance, and on top of that, he was a fake cowboy. And what I mean by that, have you ever seen him when he comes out? He was trying to, he's trying to act like he's, hey, I'm George Bush. He was trying to act like he's this cowboy guy. As soon as he left office, he moved to a gated community in Dallas. He sold that frigging ranch. That was only a prop, So anyways, this is I did this right when Bush was on his way out. At the end of the year, New Yorker has a cartoon edition. And so I did a 2-page spread why I was going to miss George W. Bush. And so this was like the final cartoon. And this was right after 9/11. That's how I drew him. Then after the Iraq invasion, you notice he's gotten a little smaller and the ears have gotten a little bigger. Then after Katrina, he's kind of not looking so good. Then after torture, wiretapping, signing statements, there he is. And then after the economic meltdown, there he is. So he didn't even have shoes at that point. I just drew little circles. I mean, he was just... Let's see what else we got here. See, this is what so annoys me about our politics now. It's so all about money that people deny reality. And so we've got, Big Oil saying, clap if you think global warming is a hoax. So this one I did this week. Mitt Romney, who's just been a godsend for me. He is so great. But he's had to take the primary season with Herman Cain and Michelle Bachmann and who's the guy in Texas, the governor, Rick Perry. What nuts! And Santorum. So in order to compete with these guys, and Mitt is trying to appeal to the Republican base in all these primaries, and they are the wackiest of the wacky. So he's had to move way right. So I did this cartoon. I've got, now that the general election's on, the guy's saying Mitt's moved to the center, and it's the center for right-wing nuttery. So they ban hoodies, win the war on women, Hispanics vamoose. Often in campaigns, they're just like really fun type things that occur kind of off, unscripted, because you have all these people campaigning and they're surrogates. Well, in I think it was 2007, maybe early 2008, Jesse Jackson was caught on a hot mic on CNN or something. He was like PO'd at Obama, and he said that he really said this, he wanted to rip his testicles off. That's what was picked up. And so this was the one I did on that. This is, I asked for the most effective contraceptive and got a Rush Limbaugh poster. Now, in our society, we get so, we're like, it's like we see a shiny object, and what's really important, we got a truck coming at us, but we see this something right there that's unimportant, and it just takes our whole focus away. And so this was during the Wienergate scandal. Time's running out. How do I grab people's attention? Tweet your junk. So. See, don't I have a fun job where I get to every day? Let me just explain something. I come in, no one bugs me, and I start out with a blank sheet of paper, and then I don't have to go to any meetings. And then by the end of the day, I've finished my drawing, so I can bring it home and show my wife and look at it. So I'm able to start and complete a task every single day without having to deal with other human beings other than Jay. So I'm so lucky to be able to do this. Now, let me, do we have time for me to do a couple drawings? Okay. Because these only take, 40 or 50 minutes each. And let's see. If I could just find my paper. Oh, here's a common occurrence that happens with me every time I go to a airport security. It's very sad. I'll just use. Okay. All right. Now let's see. I'll show you how I draw Obama. Well, first of all, I'll show you how I draw this guy, because this guy has just been, over the years for me, so great. And his favorite word, or one of them, is frankly. So that's Newt Gingrich, and thank you. Hold on, I brought I'm always prepared, but I brought a whole bunch of. Oh, here we go. Okay, bunch of paper. All right, so. Let's see. Now the thing about Obama, he's a good-looking guy. So that's one strike against him if you're a cartoonist. Let's see if you can see that. Fortunately, he's got fairly good ears, so that's the one. But here's the thing, I was talking about Bush earlier. Obama is nothing like Bush. Obama is, just the way Obama moves. You ever seen him get off a plane? He gets off a plane like that. He's so loose and smooth. I love the guy. And the problem for me, and plus he doesn't, he's always, they're always saying he's a Muslim Kenyan or whatever they're calling him. But he doesn't, he's just cool about things. And for me, that's very frustrating because, I would rather have him getting all hot under the collar so I would have some material. But he just, he's so cool and he's so smart. And, unlike Bush. So it's hard for me to, he's really been he's been kind of difficult for me to do. And I was looking over my cartoons recently, and I haven't done that many cartoons on him, sadly. And one guy, people like now with Obama in power, I keep getting emails from people and calls from people and saying, well, you're just a goddamn liberal. And you just love Obama. Well, I do kind of like Obama, but when Clinton was president, I hit him all the time, and it was he was almost as good as Bush because of his zipper problem. So. I usually give him a little lipstick stains. I brought one with me here. Thank you. I brought one. Whenever actually Clinton, he's been such a great ex-president, but whenever he kind of shows up, here it is. Whenever he shows up, in the news, I tend to focus on this aspect of him, just because it's so much fun. This was when Chelsea was getting married. She sang to her fiance, "Where's my dad and the bridesmaids?" I'll show a couple more and then I'll take some questions here. Sometimes there's just goofy things in the news. There was something maybe 6 or 8 months ago about terrorists. They had intelligence that terrorists were considering using explosive implants, when they got on a plane. So that's that one. And it's great as a cartoonist to live in Georgia. This was over Easter and over the Masters. Prove you're a dude. It's the Easter Bunny. And then finally, here's this is what Republicans I think are thinking. Mid happens. So anyway, thank you. I made a real mess. Do y'all have any questions?